Outside of the Echo Chamber, the official I Dream of Indie Games podcast is brought to you by you, the gamer. If you'd like to join our mission to support indie visibility, head over to patreon.com/idreamofindiegames and bring a voice to the voiceless ones in gaming. Howdy ho there, indie warriors. Welcome back to what we strive to make the most rootin' tootin' show on the web. This is Outside of the Echo Chamber. I'm Old Gamer Joe, hosting here with Silent Signs, and joined by the Wobble Penguin himself, Barely Magic Mike. Our mission is to celebrate the incredible indie gaming scene, shining a light on its talented developers and publishers. We bring you, a whole slew of daily reviews, first impressions, top 10 lists, biggest sales going on, so much more, including this podcast. Patreon members, you get it 3 days earlier than everybody else. A huge thank you to everybody who supports independent content. Remember, like our videos on YouTube. That really helps us, Silent Signs, a lot. Subscribe to the channel. Do all of those good things. Help us out. Help us bring a voice to the voiceless ones in gaming. I've been asking for 6 years, and y'all have done a good job of it, so thank you for that. Coming up on, we're closing in, Silent Signs, 50,000 subscribers on the channel. What a milestone. We're going to have a big party. Did you hear about this? Did I tell you the details yet?
No.
That's because I don't know the details yet, but we are planning...
Yeah, I was like, I don't know the details either.
Yeah, do tell.
Okay, I want to hear it.
Planning to find a spot between us, and by us I mean Barely Magic Mike and me and you.
The spot between us right now is this microphone, so...
Yes, and it's very close. I'm sorry
about
that. And the goal here is to get a hotel and just have a debaucherous evening.
Debaucherous?
Straight married couple, gay man in a hotel. What could go wrong?
Nothing.
Nothing, right?
I don't think.
Lots of rootin' and tootin', that's for sure.
Well, definitely lots of tootin', depending on what I have for dinner. But
oh, God.
It should be fun. 50,000, we appreciate it. That's quite the milestone, I have to say, Silent Signs. I remember we were really excited about the prospect of doing 10,000, so 50,000.
10,000? I remember being excited that we got 1,000.
That is quite the milestone, you know? That's something that, believe it or not, I think it's like 10% of YouTubers get to 1,000 or something like that. It's way low. I was surprised by that. So 50,000. Whoa, my cat's going crazy here. See, every time my cat shits, it runs around the house like a madman. I have no idea why.
He gets the shit zoomies, it's true.
I do that too. To be fair.
You don't do that?
I'm going to do it right now.
Full disclosure, we're recording this at a different time of day than we normally do, and I think that just insanity is very quickly setting in.
Yeah, and I've had no caffeine
whatsoever. It's going to
get
weird.
It's going to get weird.
All right, this episode, we're diving into indie game news, of course. There's not really that much this week. I'm kind of getting tired of the Switch 2 stuff, but there's a little bit more news regarding that. We'll talk just a little bit more Switch 2. I know you're probably all sick of hearing about it at this point, too.
Can we switch the subject?
Oh, you mean the topic of today?
Yeah.
We're talking about boycotts. That's what we're doing.
Okay.
Boycotts. It's not Switch 2 related.
Good.
Well, it could be, I guess, but not exactly.
I thought you were just making a Switch pun, honestly.
I was.
No. Oh, wait. Oh,
good.
You know what? I didn't even catch that. Good ear, Mike.
I got it. The Wobble Penguin strikes again.
The Wobble Penguin strikes again, yeah.
You got wobbled, bitch.
The reason we are all out of sorts is because me and Silent Signs were on a mini staycation, a daycation, I guess you could call it, out in New Hampshire. We've talked about that on a couple episodes now. We finally made it to a fun spot, so it definitely threw my Monday off a little bit, but that's okay. It's worth it.
Your Sunday, your Monday.
Yeah, you got to have that R&R. I enjoyed myself a Mai Tai.
You did,
evening.
Didn't you?
It was very fruity. Not enough alcohol, though, I have to say. I'm used to my Mai Tais being strong. Did not really get me buzzing as much as I want. And I have to say, these hard seltzers also don't do much for me, even though I like them.
To be fair, you also ate a lot that day, and I feel like anything that you ate just absorbed the very little liquor that you actually consumed.
That is true. That was the most I've eaten in a while. You know, when we went to that Japanese place, It had the biggest sushi rolls I can recall.
They
I
were
ordered
huge.
2, and 2 is probably a reasonable order of sushi, right? You would say. Sometimes I could even do 3 depending on the restaurant if I'm a real hungry boy. But
You fully lost it.
but this spicy tuna roll was massive. It was like a big turd of a roll.
It was a hogger.
Yeah, it was a real hogger. What kind did you get?
I had an eel roll, and what else did I get? Oh, it was a Mexican roll, aka it was tuna with jalapeno.
That sounds really good.
It was good.
But I have to say, my favorite thing of that entire order was the appetizer I got, which was edamame. But
spicy garlic edamame.
yes, it was edamame seeped in garlic. So good. I really
was
enjoyed it. Other than that, we of course went to the arcade, played lots of Space Harrier, one of my favorite cabinets, the one that gyrates around with you in it. You're
Yep.
used to me gyrating around at all? I don't know.
I did get my best ever score at Crazy Taxi. I got a Class A license.
I heard you got an A. Yeah.
I did.
Yes. Our little one told me that.
Yes.
Congratulations. What did you do so well on that run?
I don't know. I was just in the zone.
Gosh, I really overdue on playing. I miss having it at home.
Yeah.
Crazy Taxi, even though the arcade's way better.
But I do like the arcade one where you can sit.
Yes, get the
And
whole
drive.
get the reverse stick too.
Hell
That's
yeah.
clutch. Literally.
I think
unintended.
you're forgetting.
I love sitting too. Sitting is great.
Yeah.
in racing games especially. I really miss that. I haven't had a racing wheel in like years now that I think about it. My last one was Xbox 360. Did you ever own a racing wheel?
I never owned a racing wheel.
Oh, they're so cool.
I have a racing wheel that I never ever use. Never use it.
For a
It is
PC,
cool,
or-
but I think it's for PlayStation. I think you can use it on PC too. I don't think I've tried, but I think you can.
It reminds me, though, I asked a trivia question as I do every single day except the weekend in our Discord. And today's trivia question, maybe I'll ask you two. I don't know if you'll know. Mike, you probably won't because you weren't so much a PS1 guy, but Silent Signs, you might have a chance at this one. Anyways, the question was, what is the #1 all-time selling game on PlayStation 1? I'll let you go first, Silent Signs.
#1 all-time best-selling game on PlayStation 1.
Correct. It surprised me a little.
Is it... What's that car series?
You are on the right track.
Oh, what the hell is it called?
You are definitely on the right track.
The big game.
It's not Ridge Racer, I'll tell you that.
Not Ridge Racer. No. Like a realistic car
They
sim.
made a movie. It was weird.
Yeah. What the
Gran
hell?
Turismo.
Thank you.
I'm totally. Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say
I
it.
was
I wanted to give you a
spacing.
chance.
Oh, did you actually know it, Mike?
I did know it. Well, I knew it as soon as you said racing. I was like, oh, obviously Gran Turismo.
Yeah, that didn't initially dawn on me this morning. I was like, oh, it's definitely Final Fantasy VII. And
That was going to be my second
that
guess.
is number 2.
Wow.
list,
Hey,
And they're
I'm
like-
pretty good.
They're like really, really close to each other in terms of sales.
Wow.
I think Tomb Raider's in the top 10 as well. It's a really good list from a great system. But yeah, it's good fun. Trivia is always fun.
Good.
People seem to enjoy it.
It was at the tip of my tongue. I was this close.
Maybe tomorrow I'll do PS2. We'll see. Because I have no idea what that could be.
That could be
Well,
interesting.
Actually, you know what? I'll take a shot
As
at it
long
right
as that's
now.
also not Gran Turismo,
Yeah, it could be.
No, I'm going to take a shot and say
or
it's
not also Gran Turismo.
I feel for some reason that Metal Gear Solid 2 sold a butt ton.
Not Tony Hawk, Pro Skater.
No, I don't think it was like the top 10 seller or anything. It did well. But I feel like Metal Gear 2, like everyone was buying that game.
I didn't have it.
That's
but
my guess.
I did have Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Yeah, I kind of want to look now, but I won't.
So
Mike, how was your weekend?
How was my weekend? Weekend was good. I had a friend come visit. We played a lot of Split Fiction, which is a super, super fun game with an atrocious story.
is it as weird as it looks?
Weird. When you say weird, well, no, I'm gonna say it's not that weird.
Really?
I'm gonna say it's like mostly a pretty normal. Yeah, I mean, the entire plot is an excuse to just go back and forth between these like, honestly, incredibly realized like fantasy settings and sci-fi settings doing different stuff. The plot that holds them together is really, really rough, but I honestly maybe recommend skipping the cutscenes, but it's a really good time. It's very fun, tons of variety, beautiful game, very, very fun co-op. I mean, that's the only way you can play it. But let's see, what else did I do? I made incredible cookies, some of the best cookies I ever made. Churro cookies stuffed with dulce de leche.
Ooh,
This man makes a
They
good
were
cookie. I've had it before.
Delish.
can confirm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, they were dope, and watched The Last of Us. And oh wait, we went to this mozzarella restaurant. I'm going to say it's an Italian restaurant, but that they're really about their mozzarella. So we ate a lot of cheese, like way too much cheese. It was
Really?
great.
I've never heard of a
Good weekend.
dedicated like mozzarella restaurant before. Is it like pizzas or is it?
Yes.
Well, they just have a section where you can get like mozzarella, you can get burrata, you can get mozzarella with different accompaniments, and then they have like a pasta section, and the pastas have a lot of mozzarella involved too, and just everything has mozzarella involved. Even even one of the cocktails had some of the like whey from the burrata they make in it, which is a little strange, but it was actually really, really delicious. But probably unnecessary, but you know. Anyway, it was a good time. Good weekend.
They should call that place Constipatios. Cheese.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. They get pretty backed up.
Can confirm today.
Oh, yeah. Oh, geez.
That's
Confirmed
pretty dark.
it. I wasn't actually asking for a confirmation, but all right.
Well, you got it.
Hey, let's get into some news. This is going to be a little bit of a shorter episode.
You don't want to talk about our epic cinematic experience?
Oh, you're going to make this long? I have to edit this thing.
I'm
still
sorry. It feels
Fine,
important.
Fine. Talk about your Jack Black.
We saw the Minecraft movie. It was bad. That's all.
Really? You don't say.
I would lean towards entertainingly bad, though. Like, so bad it's bad, but bad. Never mind.
Right.
It's just bad.
So bad. So bad.
So, I mean,
Okay.
the children present in the theater seemed to have a great time. So I think they knew their target audience well. We, however, were not the target audience.
The movie tried to do the old Shrek thing where it snuck in a few adult innuendos, but they weren't great.
There was a moment where Jack Black and what's his face?
Oh, why am I
Momoa.
Momoa, thank you.
Were kind of 69ing in the sky, and that was an interesting choice.
Yeah, that was probably the best part of the movie, actually.
But other than that,
yeah. So thank you, Silent Signs.
you're
for
welcome.
giving your thoughts on a bad movie.
Anytime.
I've heard a couple people really like it. You know, I don't want to get anyone upset in the Discord because I know a few people liked it in the Discord. So.
Not to yuck your yum, but as someone who knows very little about Minecraft, but does like Jack Black, I was not.
This did not
tickle my
make you
fancy.
want to get into any sort of Minecrafting.
No, I've never been a Minecraft girly.
I am not much of a builder in games in general. I like my games built and I like to play through them. You know, that's just the way I always
Yeah,
been.
I like a guided experience, something that's,
Like
made for me to experience as opposed to create your own fun,
like
build your own
some
fun, whatever.
sense of direction.
But it's interesting. Kids really
Yeah.
like, which is kind of a good thing in a way. Kids really like these create games.
Yeah,
they
for
like
sure.
Roblox. They like Minecraft. They like building their own worlds, their houses. Kind of different from how we were growing up, where we like these scripted Mario levels and all these platformers and RPGs.
Well, everybody had that one friend that would play Sims and like make horrible things happen. So
Yeah.
that was kind of similar.
Meanwhile, today I don't think I could get my daughter to play a turn-based RPG, though she did play the South Park
not true.
one.
She also she did some of Nights in Tight Spaces.
Oh, you're right. She did actually help me on a level with that when I was reviewing. I forgot about that. She gets very bored with them quickly. But the South Park one she liked because she went through a phase of loving everything to do with South Park. But that game's actually pretty good. I don't know if you ever played it. Stick of Truth.
Oh yeah, it's really good.
It's actually really good.
Totally good.
The one after that, not
Yeah.
as good, but still pretty decent. And the more recent
Agree.
one...
I couldn't really finish it.
The more recent one's just absolutely terrible.
Oh,
The Snow Days one.
okay.
Yeah.
No.
Now we know.
It didn't look great. Wait, I forgot to mention, I saw a movie this weekend too.
Did you see Sinners?
I don't know how I forgot that. I did see Sinners.
Was it
I want to see that.
really good? Because I've heard it's really good.
You know what? It was quite good. I did really like it. I think it's going to be very different from what some people are expecting. It's a long movie. The first half of it is just a straight up period piece with basically no horror of any kind. And I would say even past that, although it kind of really picks up once the characters are introduced and sort of the setting really gets established, although it stays interesting and is pretty tense at times, there's not really much in the way of horror until the last 15 minutes or so. So it kind of depends what kind of pacing you're into. I think it was a really well-made movie. I think there were aspects of the story, kind of the overarching story, that I still feel a little confused about, but it's definitely worth seeing. It's a very unique for a horror or horror-themed movie, depending what you want to consider it.
Now, when you say period piece, is it kind of in that Nosferatu territory? Because that was a bit on the boring side at times.
That's more like
No, I would
medieval.
say I was very critical of Nosferatu. I thought it was very boring, and I would say this is much more interesting than that.
Cool.
Much more interesting. The characters are at least interesting. You just have to be ready for some kind of slower build-up where they're just introducing the characters. And if somebody came in for just like a gore fest out of the gate, they're not getting it. They're not getting anything close to that.
I don't mind a little horror with a brain, you know? I don't necessarily have a problem with that, as long as it's interesting the whole time, you know?
It was actually. For a 2-hour, 20-minute movie, I wasn't bored once. Honestly, very good.
But did any children scream chicken jockey during your showing? Because that's...
Actually, yeah, a few. A few did. Sorry to say.
That's terrible.
No, that's unique, though. That's really unique.
I was confused when that happened. Hey, why don't we get into some news now?
Sure.
That you made this edit longer for me.
Sorry.
It was meaningful content. I'm sure our fans appreciate it. A little more Switch 2 news. We'll stop talking about it soon, I promise. Though maybe not, because it's launching pretty soon, I guess. Switch 2 pre-orders will officially begin April 24th. That's just 3 days from the recording of this podcast. Prices of the console itself did not end up changing, as Silent Signs here predicted. Nintendo sticks to their guns, possibly eating a little bit of cost there, keeping the $500 Mario Kart bundle and the $450 standalone that you can just look at, I guess, or play old Switch games on. At least they're supposed to work. Accessories, however, they were the victim of a minor price increase across the board, I feel like, pretty much. The camera went up, the Joy-Cons went up, which pushes those Joy-Cons to about $100, pretty damn close to $100 for another set of those. And the Pro Controller up $5. I think it's at, am I right, Mike, 85 now for that thing?
Yeah, I think so. And it is $100 for those Joy-Cons when you consider tax. So
Yeah.
that's in most places anyway.
That is brutal if you do need a second set, which some people will.
I think the only thing of those items I would purchase is the Pro Controller anyway.
Yeah, especially now with that new button that they have, which is exclusive to their new Pro Controller, of course. I guess, though, in some good news, you can use your old Switch Pro Controller on your new Switch. Apparently that works.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I just learned that the other day. It will work. You just won't have that C button functionality, which I don't totally understand yet. Anyway, is that to access like that streaming stuff and all that content they showed?
Yeah, so I don't care at all. I'll use my old Pro Controllers. I have two of them.
There you go. You could save a little bit of money. I'm skipping this round of pre-order myself. I'm not too interested in this console currently. Kind of see how it goes, see if they break down and malfunction, and even potentially wait for the OLED model, which could be a couple of years, but I might be okay with that. But Silent Signs, any interest in a Switch 2 pre-order? Or you, Mike? I'll go first with 2 Silent Signs.
I've never really been one to pre-order my consoles. I've usually just purchased them once they were readily available in store. I'm not pre-ordering it, but this won't be different for me. I would like to get one at some point, definitely.
At some point, I think, yeah.
But I'm not going to, rush the doors down to get one.
Yes. Are you willing to potentially wait for an OLED model?
Yeah, that doesn't really matter to me either because I don't usually play the...
You do the docked more.
I do the docked more.
You're in the minority, I feel like. But
Maybe so, but I'm not really much of a mobile gamer.
yeah. No, I never really was either. I definitely started playing more when I got my Steam Deck, but outside of that, I was definitely a stationary gamer. But Mike, are you pre-ordering a Switch or attempting to, or are you going to wait it out?
Yeah, I'm going to do it. If it was going to go up in price, I wasn't going to do it, but I have too much FOMO. I'm weak. I'm doing it. It's happening.
Weak man, as he says.
Totally.
So going with the Mario Kart bundle, I assume, if you can get one?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Honestly, if I can't get the Mario Kart bundle, I'm just not going to pre-order.
Oh, well, perfect.
I don't want to pay $90 for Mario
Yeah,
Kart.
that's valid.
Well, it's good news for you fans out there that were maybe anticipating a potential review or two on the Switch 2. Now I can send them all to Mike because he's the only one that has
There
the
you
console.
go.
So
Here I am.
you can have fun
Give
with
them
those.
to me.
Not that we get Switch games very often at all anymore. Nintendo probably hates us at this point. I have shit-talked them to no end. We do get them occasionally, but not too often. They're a pain in the butt. You usually get them very late, and most of those games go cross-platform anyways.
Yeah, I do wonder if there will be
Yeah.
many if any, indie exclusives on the Switch 2?
I'm trying to think back to the original Switch. They got a couple maybe, but I feel like they all eventually went.
Just as an example, Nico DeRico was originally on the Switch first,
Yes.
and then later came to PC and other.
Yeah, it all depends if they want to make a deal with a certain indie and get that game exclusively for a small period of time, but I think the days of like flat out exclusivity are pretty well over.
It's got to be tough to do that with an indie when you already have a lower budget, and unless it's cheapest to put it on the Switch, which something tells me that's probably not the case.
Yeah, and something also tells me, you gave a good example there with Nico DeRico, I don't think that being exclusive did it any favors. It definitely did not have a wide audience to the point where they got this director's cut version out and basically sent a whole new PR package out about the game and tried to get interest in it once more. So,
which is a pretty good game, by the way. We haven't talked about that, I don't think.
But we talked about it a bunch.
Did we?
A couple episodes ago.
Well, you should play that game if you like.
I liked it. Yeah,
like platformers.
We talked about weird furry characters though.
Well,
people were weird in the comments on that.
I don't know why everybody
some people were really defending the furry characters. Some people hated it.
I don't care if you like it. It's great that you do. It was just my personal feelings, which is what a review is.
I think some person commented.
I still like the game.
That they thought they were like sexy Lion King characters.
I don't think they were sexy.
I don't know. I'd have to go back and read it if I cared enough, which I don't.
By the way, something random about Switch 2 exclusives is that I don't hear a lot of Switch 2 indie exclusives either, but there is actually a Switch exclusive indie out right now called Star Overdrive, but it's exclusive for like 2 months.
Oh, interesting.
Which I think is such a strange choice.
That's what Nico DeRico did too. It was 2 months.
That's what they're doing now. World of Goo, a recent example, World of Goo 2. That's going to Steam like in a couple weeks, if not already, actually. But yeah, this is a...
I wonder if that works.
Yeah, this is a time thing that they have going on now with indies, apparently. It's like, oh, get it on Switch first. We'll pay you a little bit extra to do that. And that kind of seems to be Nintendo's strategy right now with indies.
I wonder what the benefit of that is.
Well, more people will buy it on our platform, I guess is their thinking, right? And the indie's probably like, well, we'll get a little more money if we do this.
Maybe.
So I would think. That's my very loose understanding of how business works.
I would be very interested to hear an actual explanation of why people would opt to do that.
Yeah. I think the incentive is probably financial. I mean, I remember we talked to Clara a while back from Devolver, and she was always about indies taking deals like that because it would keep them fed, and it was the best thing for their careers.
At the end of the day, you got to do whatever puts food
a lot
on
of
the
them
table.
would take that Game Pass money, for example. So, they would get on that platform first, and they get a little bit of a nice little bonus for their game. So, gives you a head start. But again, that's a little bit speculation. I don't actually know the weeds of it all. Only other story I have here, Silent Signs. I thought this was kind of a fun one. Bases Loaded. Do you remember this classic NES, SNES baseball game?
It sounds
I played it a bunch as a kid.
Vaguely familiar.
You probably would if you watched the trailer. But apparently this dropped kind of out of nowhere a few days ago, and it's on Steam and Good Old Games right now. It was released in 1988 on the NES. This is cool because you can actually cycle between the two versions with the press of a button, apparently. You can go from NES to SNES, play some old school baseball. But I'm assuming, Mike, you don't have any memories of Bases Loaded. I'm the oldest one here. Probably the only one that played it.
I also barely know what a sport is, so yeah, I'm lost.
Did you not run track or anything in school? No baseball, no hockey?
No, if I was running it was to get pizza or something.
You know what that does remind me of, though? An older sports-related adjacent franchise was, remember, like, backyard baseball?
Oh, yeah, I do, actually.
Backyard football.
I like that one. I liked NES hockey as well, where the little guys would get in the fights.
But, like, the backyard franchise was, like, the little kids that would play.
I do recall that one.
It was really cartoony and fun.
And Mutant League, I always liked those.
Yeah.
I tend to like the cartoony ones. NFL Blitz I liked a lot. Some good sports games out there, but there's only one NFL game, really, Madden, and it sucks, so I don't really bother with too many sports games anymore, unfortunately. I do like when indies do some of the cartoony takes on them. Isn't there a slam dunk one coming up, I think, pretty soon? Thought I heard something about that. It looked kind of cool.
If it's not like NBA Jam or something, I don't want it.
Yeah, exactly. Arcade style.
This guy. Remember this guy?
Oh, yeah. She's showing me the picture here. I do remember
Backyard baseball.
this. I feel like this might be on Good Old Games as well. but I could be remembering wrong.
Should be. It was cute.
Yeah, backyard baseball.
It was
for
fun.
you out there, if you can't see the pictures. All right, that's really all the news we had. So we're going to get right into our topic. Keep it quick and dirty here. We're talking about boycotts. Stinky, old, dirty boycotts of video games.
Why is it stinky and dirty?
I don't
What has
know.
it been doing?
I'm just saying words at this point.
It's gross.
I made 2 videos in a row and my brain's a little fried, so I apologize in advance. How do you feel? Do you think boycotting games ever works? I will start with you, Silent Signs.
No. Next question.
Please elaborate so I have something to work with here.
Oh, okay. No, I don't think boycotting works because I don't think that realistically you can get enough of a following behind a boycott to make any sort of meaningful change.
Why is that, you think? Why can you not get enough of following? You know, in the day of the internet where you can go on forums, you can get people together, you can certainly fundraise for projects and stuff.
Because
why can't you boycott?
in the day of the internet, we're more divided than ever. And for as many people who are willing to boycott with you, there are a whole other group of people that are willing to buy 2 copies of the same game to support it.
So you don't think, in a more modern example, we're going to see a bunch of people at a GameStop with pitchforks Switch 2 night saying, "Oh, we don't want $80 games."
No, absolutely
We're not going to see that.
not.
No,
Absolutely
remember that
not.
episode of The Simpsons?
It's just not realistic. Every game that I've ever heard a Rumble boycott about has sold perfectly fine, if not exceptionally well. So I honestly think giving it attention, like giving any sort of boycott attention, just fuels the other side all that much more to buy more copies of the game or go out and buy it if they weren't going to buy it at all.
Yeah, like think of that recent Harry Potter game.
That's
Everyone was
exactly
like,
what I was thinking of, actually.
"Fuck that game, we're not buying
Funny
it."
you
I was
should
thinking
mention
about
it.
that too.
I think it became one of the top-selling games that year.
And it looks so bad. Sorry. I'm sorry. If you like it, it's fine. It doesn't look special to me. I don't know.
I've also seen, I don't know if this is directly related to the boycott or not, but we've seen like some of these more recent Disney movies where they'll mention something political that a certain group doesn't agree with, and then that movie will bomb. Do you think that's an effect of those people boycotting the movie?
No.
Or is it just the movie bombed?
Let's get one thing straight here on the Disney movies. It's been a long day. I worked all day. We're just putting this all out here. The Disney movies aren't doing well because they're not good. They're not good films anymore. They have lost the magic of Disney that once made those movies great.
You don't think it's anything to do with politics? or any of that
No,
stuff?
absolutely not.
All right, let's get your thoughts on this topic, Mike.
Yeah, I was also gonna say no and then just stop. So thanks for stealing my thunder, Silent Signs. No, I was gonna say maybe there's an I was thinking about Hogwarts Legacy too. I mean that was never gonna happen. That was never going to be boycotted.
Of course not.
Effectively anyway. And I thought, I wonder if maybe if a smaller indie was boycotted, like maybe that would have an effect on it. For some reason, like the creator was like a piece of shit or something like that. But then there was sort of an example of that I heard. I remember there were the creators of, I think it was West of Loathing, were under fire for something. Like there was some sort of sexual assault thing. I forget exactly what it was, but there was a lot of controversy around the creator of that game. And then they released a sequel and it did great. So I don't think it works for indies either. If anything, it'll bring them more attention to people who haven't heard of them before. So yeah, I don't think boycotts work for much of anything. Sometimes I wish they would, but I think in general they really don't, especially games.
Yeah.
People want their games.
You know what I think boycotts work well for? If you're making a personal choice not to support something and you want to feel better about yourself by not purchasing that thing, then by all means, you boycott it. But I just would not expect that to make a huge difference.
No, it's not going to make a difference at all whether I go out there and buy a
But
Switch
if
2
it
or
gives
something.
you, if it gives you that peace of mind, that's great. I didn't buy Hogwarts Legacy, and I feel fine about that. I didn't go out and tell everyone about it. I just didn't want to be part of it, and that was fine.
Well, I just don't really follow Harry Potter. I didn't even know all of the stuff around it. I just had no interest.
I'm just saying, as long as it makes you feel better about whatever you're doing, that's really what matters here.
Yeah, there are people that quite literally don't know about any of these controversies. Like, let's take, in more recent times, the whole Mr. Beast thing that went down. Like, how many people that just watch Mr. Beast videos actually knew about any of that crap? Probably very few, right? They're just like, oh,
Very few.
There's the new Mr. Beast video. Oh, look, he's going to build a house today for some homeless people.
Here's another thing. The people watching the Mr. Beast videos are very young.
Yeah, they don't care.
It's irrelevant to
care.
their lives. They don't know anything about anything that's going on in like the outside of the video world. They just want to see the next outrageous stunt and the big thumbnail with Mr. Beast with his hands on his face making the Home Alone face.
Yeah, I think we talked about this last week. The general populace does not care. They don't care if some nerds online, myself included, buy a Switch 2 or not, or they boycott it or whatever they plan. They will still go buy it because they just don't know and they don't care. They're like, oh, the Switch 2's out. Okay, I'm going to buy that thing. And I'm going to make my mom buy me these games. And mom's probably going to be upset about those prices, but
now,
that's it.
I think it's kind of silly to outright boycott the Switch because you don't like the price of it. I mean, that's just not buying it at that point.
Yeah, which is fine. I support that fully, actually.
That's fine. It's not like boycotting it.
No, that's just making a personal decision.
If we're talking like you're going out there and spreading a message like, hey, don't buy this thing because there's like, the creator was involved in killing 10,000 puppies, like that's a little different.
Yeah. If you want to take a personal stance, just like, all right, well, I don't like how this company's doing business. I don't want to support them at this current time. Maybe if things change in the future, that kind of thing. Totally fine. That's a personal choice of yours. But you don't necessarily have to go around telling everyone else to do it too and form a boycott, right?
Well, it's just not going to work. That's more of the greater issue at hand here.
You are greatly outnumbered. Is that the moral of this story?
You can try.
You're gonna fuel a fire that you don't want to fuel, which is the same thing that happens in politics. It's the same thing that happens in everything.
Yeah, it just never works. When do we learn?
It unfortunately tends to backfire in the worst possible way.
And yet these groups keep trying to boycott things, and it keeps failing. So, like, why is the lesson not learned?
Because we want to have hope that our principles matter. That's why.
Fair enough, everybody. You let us know.
Not the world we live in.
In the comments below. What do you think? Does boycotting games ever work? Have you ever boycotted a game? Or do you just take more of a personal stance and decide not to buy something? Even outside of games, have you ever boycotted anything in life? I'm trying to think. Have I ever actually outright boycotted before? I don't think so. I've made personal choices not to buy things.
Well, exactly. I think that's what it's going to come down to. There's plenty of things that I no longer would financially support, but I wouldn't call it a boycott. It's just me standing on my principles and not wanting to purchase something.
Fair enough. Let's get into some comments from last week before we get out of here. I pulled a full, not all of them this week, just a few. I know that was a lot last time. Here's Frost Trick. We talked about, what were we talking about last week? Actually, now that I think about it.
We were talking about
something about the Switch too. Oh, whether they would pay the higher price. Yeah. How much you would pay for games. That kind of thing. All right. Frost Trick. Just placed an order for Pikmin. Just £10 on the Wii. Arriving next week. I'm much more excited to play games I haven't played on older consoles. Currently playing through the GameCube version of Wind Waker with my wife. Having a great time. I'm looking back, not forward. Comes with none of the bull crud that plagues modern gaming, and I'm very happy. I kind of like this strategy the more I thought about this. It's like, if you never experienced those games from the past and now you can nab them cheap, which it's kind of hard though in the retro market, isn't it? Retro games can be pretty expensive these days. But I like this strategy.
I like the word bull crud.
I did like bull crud.
That's really great.
Yeah. It is good. I support that.
At CRCVMBDFL. Thank you for that name. Depends if the game comes fully playable and enjoyable on its physical media completely offline. For giving minor update patches for minor bugs, I would pay full retail price. Otherwise, no.
It's probably, unless you're going to wait and not get a game immediately at launch, it's going to be impossible to know that.
Yes, it is in fact impossible to know. At GameLover2222. I've retired from console games for the most part. If Nintendo released their games on PC and they got discounted, I'd be happy to have them. As it stands, I got a Switch to play games with my niece and nephew, and now my nephew is almost out of high school. I'll probably visit my sister if I want to play something on hers. Games shouldn't be more than $40, especially with AI knocking on the door. Operating costs for making new games should drop, and that should be reflected in the price. Nintendo games are already cheap to make. There's a reason that there's no voice acting in any of the Nintendo brand games. They are cheap bastards, he says. Well, I don't necessarily think they're cheap, per se. I think the voice acting thing is kind of just a choice
It's a hot take.
Yeah, they've always kind of been that way. Nintendo doesn't like having voices for a lot of their characters.
I will say, I don't usually love voice acting, so I actually appreciate Nintendo games for that.
Yeah, but do you like when they do the weird animal noises?
No.
No, I don't like that either.
I want like
I like it.
like Animal Crossing noises.
Yeah, I'm not into that.
I like some of the little noises. I like something other than total silence, but I really appreciate voice acting, but only when it's quality voice acting.
Yeah.
You know, not to bring up this game all the time, but Disco Elysium, I mean, the voice acting added so much. It was excellent.
More games have been ruined by voice acting for me than have been enhanced by it.
And also to his comment,
That's so fair.
do we actually have any evidence that AI is lowering the price of games?
I was going to say that as well.
I don't think so.
I don't think AI is nearly as close to being a competitor in the gaming market as some people
No,
might
it's
think
doing
it
some
is.
cool things for performance and stuff, but it's not like people's jobs are gone immediately or anything like that.
It still can't replicate the creativity and the innovation of the human mind just yet.
Agreed. Yeah, so I don't think that's a factor in prices at this time anyways, but thank you for the comment, regardless. Feel free to disagree. And last, we have KH Retiva. They feel their flagship IPs deserve that price for the experience offered. Also, Nintendo games don't go on sale, really. Contrast that with great many indie games that will be on the Switch too, often heavily discounted. Just grab those. You get more gameplay and variety that way than just doing the MK circuit again and again. Let your purchases and money talk. Interesting here. You know, I don't know if the Switch eShop is where I would go to buy my discounted indies, but any thoughts on that?
Are there frequent discounts on?
I mean, they
the
have
eShop?
sales.
They have sales,
I don't
right?
use it often, but yeah, they have sales. What do you think of that,
They
Mike?
have some pretty deep discounts, yet they do have some very deep discounts on indies sometimes. So the problem is you buy them and you can't return them and you don't know if they're going to perform like crap because it's the Switch. So that's why I kind of don't encourage that.
Oh, yeah,
Sometimes
yeah.
they're cheap for a reason.
Yeah, that return policy is really brutal. That's another thing to consider there. All right, that's it for this episode. Thank you, too, on short notice for showing up. Appreciate it greatly.
I mean, I live here, so
yeah.
you're welcome.
This was literally going to be me alone today recording this, so I'm glad we made it work. But sorry to you patrons, this episode's up a little bit later, but we got it to you in time. Thank you as always. A lot of reviews going up on the channel already. You can probably check those out now. I can't even say the names of them yet. It's so stupid.
Top secret.
But you public feeds out there are enjoying the show later, so those reviews will all be live, and you know the names of them anyways. We've got upcoming indies out there, 25 releases this past week. It was a huge week, Silent Signs. Awesome looking indie games. Hidden Indie Gems coming up on Friday, the whole shebang. And we will talk to you all soon. I'll spare you the noise today, unless you want to do one.
I could
You know what?
never.
I'll try a new noise today.
Was that a horse?
That was a horse. Goodbye.
Wow. That yeah. Okay. Sure, yeah. I could do my Wookiee noise. I do a pretty decent one.
For far too long, you, the gamer, have been denied honest gaming coverage. Indie developers and publishers have lost their voice, but no longer. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and head over to patreon.com/idreamofindiegames to join this epic campaign for indie visibility. The echo chamber trembles as our message grows louder. Voice to the voiceless.